You don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
South Park lit the match, The Simpsons are sharpening the knives, and Family Guy, they're loading the punchlines. Rachel Zegler thought she signed up to play a princess, not become the punchline of an entire genre. But after Snow White flopped and the jokes exploded, new reports say Rachel is now going after South Park legally, and the craziest part, that might only make things worse. Into the Pandaverse didn't name Rachel Zegler, but it didn't have to. The character sounded like her, spoke like her, and delivered the exact same lines Rachel gave in interviews, mocking the original Snow White, dismissing the prince, and promoting a woke reimagining nobody asked for. And fans, they instantly got the message. Reddit threads exploded, TikTok stitched it, Rachel became a meme. And not the good kind. Clips comparing Rachel's interviews to the South Park character flooded timelines. One side-by-side showed her saying, "This version doesn't need a prince," next to the cartoon version yelling about how love is a colonial trap. Another TikTok layered her real audio over the episode, and it synced almost too well. Fans weren't just laughing, they were vindicated. They'd been told they were overreacting to Rachel's comments. Then South Park animated exactly what they'd been saying for months. One YouTube comment said, "This is the most accurate parody in TV history. It's not even satire, it's a documentary." And the ratings? Sky high. The episode quickly became one of the most watched specials of the year. But what happened behind the scenes? It wasn't just laughter, it was lawyers. Multiple insiders now claim Rachel's legal team reviewed South Park's episode after the backlash snowballed. The idea of suing may sound ridiculous. Parody is protected, but the move was reportedly less about winning and more about control. A publicist close to the matter said Rachel wanted to send a message. You don't get to turn her career into your comedy. It's unclear if an actual lawsuit will ever hit the courts, but the warning shot was real. Her team is watching and reacting, and it's not just South Park that has her attention. According to industry whispers, Rachel is now on high alert for any animated show even thinking about referencing her or the Snow White disaster. Her reps have allegedly reached out to legal consultants about The Simpsons and Family Guy, both of which are rumored to be developing parody episodes centered on woke princesses. One insider claimed, "She doesn't want this to become a chain reaction. First South Park, then everyone jumps in. She's trying to shut it down early." But here's the problem. Trying to silence satire, it only adds fuel. And in an era where memes travel faster than press statements, Rachel's attempt to control the story might be doing the exact opposite. But before she could stop one episode, two more began brewing. Enter The Simpsons. Working title, Snow Woke, The Reimagining. In this unreleased episode, the lead character, a parody named Rachel Zegler, cancels her prince, replaces the dwarfs with empowerment counselors, and hosts town halls about systemic enchantment. And it doesn't stop there. It all ends with her melting down on Krusty the Clown's talk show in pastel pink, crying about narrative reclamation. Insiders say Rachel found out about the script and immediately tried to intervene. According to one Fox source, her team contacted legal and PR reps connected to the studio, citing harmful misrepresentation and requesting edits. The studio's response? A polite but resounding no. Writers reportedly doubled down, with one saying, "It's satire. If she doesn't like it, she probably shouldn't have made the interview so easy to parody." Meanwhile, leaks of the episode's script started circulating online. Fans began quoting punchlines that hadn't even aired yet. One viral tweet said, "This Simpsons episode might heal the nation." But behind the memes was a deeper problem. Rachel was quickly losing control of her image. What started as just one cartoon was becoming a full-on animated takedown tour. And with her name already linked to Snow White's flop, the last thing she wanted was more punchlines. But while The Simpsons were going satire, Family Guy was preparing for war. According to reports, Family Guy is now working on their own version of Snow White's downfall. And if the rumors are true, it's brutal. The parody reportedly includes a feminist princess with a viral podcast who throws poisoned apples at reporters and sues the prince for non-consensual awakening. Sources say it's Family Guy's most savage takedown since the Meghan Markle episode. And yes, it's 100% inspired by Rachel's Snow White press tour and meltdown. Writers allegedly pitched the idea after the South Park episode episode went viral, calling it too good to pass up. The storyline is said to include a scene where the princess fires her PR team mid-rescue and replaces the magic mirror with a livestream comment section. One insider close to production even joked, "This isn't a parody, it's therapy," for everyone who had to sit through that press tour. And while fans are laughing, Rachel's team isn't. They've reportedly added Family Guy to their watch list of shows to monitor, fearing a third animated hit piece could cement her image for good. Industry insiders believe this trifecta, South Park, The Simpsons, Family Guy, it could go down as one of the harshest satirical pylons in modern pop culture. But the real meltdown started way before the cartoons even got involved. Rachel didn't just promote Snow White, she rebranded it. She called the prince a stalker, laughed at the original movie, said this version didn't need romance, love, or anything weird like that. She said this Snow White doesn't need a man or anyone. And just like that, the magic disappeared. Fans didn't feel empowered, they felt mocked. She took a fairy tale that had touched generations, a story mothers and daughters watched together for decades, and treated it like it was embarrassing, outdated, shameful. And imagine all the actresses who auditioned for that role. Girls who grew up pretending to be Snow White, dreaming of singing in the forest, dancing with dwarfs, and finding magic in true love, only to watch the role go to someone who called the original story dangerous. The entire tone shifted. Instead of honoring the fairy tale, Rachel turned it into a lecture, and millions of fans felt like they were being talked down to. What was once a dream role became a public relations disaster, but nothing stung more than the box office numbers. Disney poured $300 million into Snow White. By week 3, it was pulled from most theaters. Meanwhile, Minecraft, starring Jason Momoa and Jack Black, crushed the box office. $500 million in just a few days. No feminist lectures, no press drama, just fun. The contrast, painful, and for Rachel, reportedly unbearable. One insider claimed she had a full-blown meltdown when the numbers dropped. According to reports, Rachel genuinely believed Snow White was going to be a legacy-defining role, one that would catapult her into Disney royalty for a new generation. Instead, she was being outperformed by a pixelated Steve and a talking pig. Internally, Disney was already distancing. Marketing campaigns were scaled back. Theme park tie-ins quietly vanished. Retailers canceled merchandise orders faster than you could say Magic Mirror. Even fans who had been willing to give Rachel the benefit of the doubt began turning. Tweets started popping up with captions like, "300 million to ruin a fairy tale." Congrats to Minecraft for doing what Snow White couldn't, entertain. And then she made it worse. Trying to spin the narrative, Rachel posted a TikTok twirling alone in a theater, holding Snow White merch. She called it a special night. The internet called it a hostage video with popcorn. Comments shredded her. She's the only one who showed up. This isn't a premiere, it's a punishment. The video got stitched, mocked, edited, and turned into meme fuel. But it didn't stop at TikTok. That clip became a goldmine for cartoon writers. According to reports, the South Park team was already working on a character inspired by Rachel. But when the TikTok dropped, it gave them the perfect third act moment. They allegedly used it as the visual basis for a scene in Into the Pandaverse, where a character performs a tone-deaf solo dance in front of a burning castle. The Simpsons and Family Guy writers took notes too. Early leaks say both shows include parodied versions of the infamous spin, with pastel dresses, wide-eyed stares, and background characters whispering, "Is she okay?" What started as a last-ditch attempt to save face became a symbol of the entire collapse. A moment meant to inspire, turned into parody's greatest gift. And while Rachel spun for TikTok, Gal Gadot quietly backed away. Gal never promoted the movie, never defended Rachel. Behind the scenes, sources say Disney backed off, projects got delayed, and Rachel's name disappeared from press shortlists. One executive said she's not canceled, just not worth the risk. And it wasn't just Disney. Studios that had previously viewed Rachel as the next-gen princess quietly removed her from pitch decks. Streaming platforms passed on projects she was attached to. Fashion brands stopped calling. She thought this woke version of Snow White would be her crown moment, that modernizing the fairy tale would bring praise, awards, maybe even a franchise. But Rachel miscalculated. The public didn't want a rewritten fairy tale. They wanted the story they loved, not one scolded to them by someone who seemed embarrassed to star in it. And now, Hollywood's silence is louder than any headline. South Park mocked her, The Simpsons are scripting her downfall, and Family Guy is reportedly going in for the final blow. And now, Rachel Zegler is reportedly exploring legal action to silence it all. But satire doesn't back down, not from lawsuits, not from discomfort. It thrives on chaos, and in this case, the chaos is already out of the box. Even if she never files a lawsuit, the damage is done. Her name is now tied to not just a failed film, but a trilogy of takedowns by the most savage animated shows in television history. Sources say Rachel believed she could reclaim the narrative, but the internet doesn't forget. In comedy, it's the final word when public opinion turns sour. This isn't just bad press, it's a cultural branding, a red flag that future studios will remember. One exec reportedly said, if 3 cartoon shows take aim at the same person, you start to wonder what they're all seeing. And in Hollywood, once the jokes start, it's hard to get the narrative back, from princess to punchline. So now the question isn't whether Rachel Zegler can sue South Park, it's this: can she sue her way out of becoming a cultural punchline? Let me know in the comments. Is she right to push back, or did she bring this on herself?